All right, and welcome to the podcast. It's 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about it. I'm one of your hosts, Sean,
And it's your co-host Jamal.
and this week we're taking a look at the manga Spirit Circle.
It's by Satoshi Mizukami. Sorry if I mispronounce it. It's ran from May 30th, 2012 to March 30th, 2016. It has a total of 6 volumes.
It's a quick read too. It's like she was saying, it's 6 volumes. It came out to be 45 chapters
Mm-hmm.
total. You were saying it's a Senyu too. It's not a Shonen.
Yeah, it's a seinen. That's the demographic on Wiki, and it felt more like a seinen too. It wasn't a lot of shonen.
No, there's a lot more. There's definitely a lot more like violence elements to it. I guess so. If we can give you a quick rundown before we get deep and heavy into like some of the themes and some of the like just cool shit that we both enjoyed from it. The it starts out with a boy. He's in. I always get their school system messed up. He's in middle school or he's in high school.
He's in middle school. I think they're trying to go for the entrance exams to go into high school. So he's
High
like
school.
14 years old.
So he's in middle school. A cute new girl shows up, um, and all of something. She wants to kill him, and the reason she wants to kill him because she hates him because of his past lives. And after that, it goes on. You go on like this journey of rediscovery with him, on discovering all the different lives he have lived. There's a total of 7 that he goes through.
Yeah, it's just pretty much piecing the puzzles of why they're in this internal conflict of them having to fight each other
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much kill each other and live and repeat these in different past lives and whatnot.
Definitely. When you first start reading it, I feel like it catches you really quickly and like pulls you in. I don't know. You have the characters pull
Yeah,
up, and
yeah. The main character name is Futa. That's our main protagonist, and his counterpart or his rival or fighter, the person he's like fighting the most
I
is
guess
Koka.
would you call her? Is she like his antagonist, or
Well,
she's not because she's kind of like a dual main character.
yeah, she's also a dual main character, but she's like the reason they're both,
She's like she unites the plot of the story in a
yeah,
sense. Like she gets everything rolling, the ball
pretty much.
kicking. How did you feel about it?
Well, I thought it was fantastic because you see, different. I thought the whole reincarnation thing was a great element for like, okay, we're live dying, but we're not, repeating, but we're going to different lives, and you see like the medieval time period to Greek time period to like Mesopotamian type period and
Yeah,
stuff like
he
that.
went all over.
Yeah,
There's
like
it's like you were saying the reincarnation thing. I really
hmm
enjoy that, and there's even when you get further in the chapters, and they're kind of and he's trying to explain like how reincarnation works. How it's like you're on this river that's constantly flowing, and everything is happening at the same time, right? And at when you pass away or you die or whatever, you hop out of that river, and now your spirit is free to jump to any point in time because time is constantly flowing in the same direction. So you can jump ahead or you can jump to the past, and so you can kind of exist constantly.
yeah,
It was surprisingly heavy, and that's why it. When you first told me it was a Sinu, um, is it Sinu?
Senin.
Sinin. When you first told me it was a Sinin, at first I was like, "What?" I thought this was a shonen,
Yeah,
but the more I think about it and more of the stuff that they're talking about in it, it definitely have more of like a mature element
yeah,
to
because they
it.
got going like the meaning of is non-living and living. What's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of life? You got the part with I forgot what it's called.
The Are you talking about the Tower of the Living,
That
the
part, but
Tower of the
there was another
Non-Living?
there was another part that he had that happened.
Excuse me.
It probably come to me, but those aspects were just very key and interesting.
Hmm. Um, so we don't want to ruin it for anyone, but I think we're gonna start talking deeper. If you think I don't really think us like the spoilers. I don't really think it would spoil the manga because it's still really cool to enjoy it for yourself and get that experience. But if you don't have the time, or if you want to go and listen, read it first, but come back and listen to this later. As we start to dive deeper into it, we'll give another like warning when we start to talk about like the ending. So if you don't want to hear how it ends and you want to read it first, um, you can cut this off.
Okay, so from this point onward, we're gonna talk about stuff that happens in it. It's like I said, like
It's just we're gonna get deeper into
yeah,
it.
like,
What's your favorite reincarnation? Which era did you like the most?
all right, for me, it was probably the Greek one.
The Greek one.
The Greek one
Is that when he's a knight?
No, that's when he was in building
The Sphinx.
the Sphinx. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of my. It's one of my favorites, and it was like legit sad.
He.
Because he built this Sphinx for the Egyptians, I believe he did it for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he went over there. He in this life he builds a Sphinx.
He's like an architect.
Yeah, he's an architect, and then he
spots
didn't
like this majestic cat,
and he really didn't like the design.
Sand. No, the cool part about like each reincarnation too is like he's forever in this bound conflict with the girl.
Oh yeah, We're gonna go by her first name, Coca. I can't pronounce her Japanese name.
And so
Coca.
She pops up in every one of his reincarnation as a reincarnation herself. And so they're always having a conflict. I really liked in that world, and when he's like the Greek, when he's a architect, how she isn't like, they're not in conflict. That one, that's the first time they hate each other, and there's this instant hatred for her, but they're still cool.
Because he's Greek, and she's the daughter of the guy that hired him. So she's like a little royalty. So she's doing her thing. But the only problem is that he kept calling her, or she kept calling him to explain that we've been doing this. We'll be going back at each other through these different lives. So he felt like it was slowing down his building. So when he ended up finally built it, he goes back home and he finds out his dad dies, and he's pissed off at her because she ended up extending this
and that
grudge, and they kept calling him Sphinx, the Great Sphinx, Master Sphinx, Father Sphinx, and he hated the name because he hated his design. He didn't like the design of the Sphinx that he made. So he ends up marrying another daughter in the Greek state that that he's friends with, but she in turn like had another love for her former attendant, but he bought his freedom, and left, and he wasn't really like the father type, or
no, he was super,
his son,
distant.
He was super distant, and he realized at the end that he didn't give them the best life, that he regretted that. He kind of really just dies alone, which is very sad.
It's sad, but there's this cool cool element that happens in each reincarnation. You can catch like a meaning for like how important it is to value the time that we have here. Because it's like you were saying, it's sad, but he went this entire life until the very end, where he finally had the realization that I wasn't caring about the things that was in front of me and around me. I was so consumed by this like hatred that I never, I couldn't see the greatness that was around me. I couldn't see the people who loved me and all of this. It was just It was a sad one. I'm surprised that's your favorite.
Well, because I like the Greek lore, but not the Viking, but the medieval one when he was like knights. That was pretty good. Isn't that your favorite one?
Yeah. So I really like the knights. And then in this reincarnation, he comes back as a knight. He's kind of the son of a very rich man in this world, and it starts out with him going to have to kill a witch. The witch is his like rival, Kiko. I probably said her name right.
Coca, but it's all good. Yeah, Coca. Just Coca. Go with that. That's the best one I got.
That's his rival in this world, and she's a witch, and she's not really a witch. She's a medicinal woman, but the church sees her as a problem, and so they send knights to kill her. And so he goes there and he gets into a conflict. As soon as he sees her, that desire inside of his soul that tells him to hate this person pops up. and so they get into a conflict, and he murders her. And during this conflict, she curses him, and he gets like
branded with like
it's like an
iron.
upside down 8
Yeah.
into his face. And so because of this branding from this witch, he's now cast out from his rich life. His father is still like, hey, you can't be my heir no more, but here goes a sack of money. Go and live your life. And so he's like, fuck, I'm just going to go and get drunk every day and train. So that's basically what he does. And eventually his brother thinks he's going to come from the throne eventually. And or for his
right to the house, and his pretty much a succession type problem. So he wants to nip that in the bud. So he sends assassins after him.
And so the assassin comes, and he beats the assassin and like, hey, chill, I have a sack of money at home. Let's just go home and train and get drunk. And the assassin is more or less like, all right, you pay me more. He sells his sword to the highest bidder. And so he goes back to and so they just start living, and they start drinking, and they start hanging out. It was such a and then there's another dude who pops up. He's a priest, but he stole his Bible from the church, so he's not like an official
he's
priest.
not ordained.
And so it's just these 3 dudes.
And then the priest is assistant. Assistant. He's there
who
too.
Just looks at them in disgust. But it's just them having a good time and drinking. And eventually his friends pass away from drunken actions.
Yeah, one of them died in a bar fight.
The other dude falls into
like a well and drowns.
But they both pass away, and then his assistant Cleo.
Yeah, he leaves.
He leaves, and then he gets a baby, and he raises that baby. And the way he dies in this world, he just kind of trips and falls on the rock.
Yeah, but he's surrounded with a loved one, the daughter that he ended up finding and raised.
I feel like that was like his most laid back and peaceful life.
Yeah, even though his death was funny, or
it was
like whatever.
It was unexpected, but it was such a cool way to look at life, because that sometimes you might see a failure or like an accident that happens at you, right? And how you don't know what's going to come afterwards. Like, he found so much more joy. Like, he still hated the witch for branding him and sending him on this like different path, but on this journey he found so much more comfort. And the fact that you get to see his friends in this world.
Yeah, the drunken priest and the
assassin,
former assassin. Yeah, they're pretty much reincarnations of his friends. And also, he didn't. His brother, the guy who ended up taking over, ended up going mad with crazy, and he burned down the estate and everything. So, and legit, he saved himself a headache of whatever, trying to take over and being in a fight with his brother.
I think that's probably one of my favorite reoccurring things that happens in this is the fact that all of his friends are just past reincarnations, and it's kind of like these spirits, or you're attached to different spirits throughout your life, or different souls, and these souls are they come in different forms and different shapes, but you have met this person before, and it kind of makes you rethink moments when you have just like met someone and y'all just click like instantly, like you're so cool, everything just works well, and you're just like, shit, do I know you? Like why is this connection so instantaneous? Like, what about you do I feel so comfortable with? It messed with me. Like, it stayed in my head. It just made me think about it.
So yeah, and how about with the next one with the tower, when they were in like the 34th century? How did you feel about that part?
Like, when is this one is the future?
The future, 34th century, and like mankind is like steady decline, and a whole bunch of like non-living beings. Like in this timeline, no one is really dying. Like if their body's dead, they can still,
as long as their brains
as long as their brain's intact, they're still alive. So they're like non-living.
So that one I really like that one too, because it was just. It was just like, it made you question what is life, right? If you, because there's always those people who are like, I'm gonna freeze my body and wait till the cure gets discovered and stuff. Is that really living? And or or like if you had the ability to put yourself in an eternal sleep until you can be brought back to life, would you? Or do you think that's destroying the natural cycle of the world? Like, should we live and then die? Like, I kind of I kind of fall towards the fact that I feel like they weren't living, they were um that they were dead already. Like, it it made you define what is a life and what is actually living.
Yeah, because in this world, Futa and Koka, they're not like
They're
rivals.
not in
They're both,
conflict or
yeah,
anything.
they're
Yeah,
both scientists. But the conflict that led them to become fighting each other again was the fact that Futa wanted to end up destroying the towers
he was
and,
committing like
yeah,
mass
mass
murder.
murder and kill because they're technically still alive. So he's gonna kill all 100 million of these non-livings, while also Coco said no. You're committing mass murder. These people are still alive, and there was also another antagonist group that wanted to bomb, creating a whole bomb to just blow up everything, a
They
black
were
hole bomb
like
or something like that.
anti technology.
Yeah, anti-technology, just blow up the whole world.
Yeah.
So that was the whole, the one versus the many. Are you willing to, kill all these millions to save whatever and stuff like that?
Which side do you lean on? Do you, in that conflict, do you think they were living? You, because like to me, my definition is living is like is having a body, being able to enjoy the simple things like tasting food and or running and
Mm-hmm.
jumping. And and I know that's kind of fucked up because then you have people in like this world, like real life, who can't do any of those things, who are like trapped to a bed and all they have is thoughts and they can move their fingers and they can move like they can't even talk.
Or yeah,
They're just like a vegetable.
or people in a coma or internal coma. Like there's no guarantee they'll get up for that.
Like, do you is that living? Like if you're in like if you're in the vegetable state where the only way you're alive is because a machine is breathing for you.
Yeah.
And these are real life things that happen in the
Yeah,
hospitals.
real lives that a lot of families go through.
Do you do you think like would you be comfortable? And I know this is like
It's a personal.
This
thing.
is us in the room
Yeah.
talking and shit like that, but is that life? Because I know
Personally, to me, that's not living. If a machine is keeping me alive, I'm not alive.
like let me like
and that's the sad part. You just let them go.
It's so tough.
Yeah,
it's so tough
it's
to be like just let
yeah.
them go like because the thoughts that run through your head is what if they do find a way
to bring you back
and you're like it's okay, let me go, and they're like we could have saved you.
It's tough.
It's tough.
But they connected that with the first line that they did in the in Spirit Circle was when they're in the like Mesopotamian type era where like Aztecs and or something like but like Aztecs and Mayans were doing ritual sacrifices. And the main character in this world, his name was Fona, but Futa, his other reincarnation was like he was in love with this one girl, but she was chosen to be a sacrifice. And in this world, pretty much the sacrifice is able to stave off a bloodbath or whatever to appease the gods.
It bring, yeah,
appease the gods, but just pretty much where the villagers won't go and kill and mass murder each other or whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in and say like it brings peace to the people.
Pretty much,
it's kind of if you believe in gods, if you don't believe in gods, we're not questioning that. It's just like it's the doing these rituals bring peace to the people because it makes them think that some higher power is protecting them.
Exactly.
And so it kind of takes the responsibility and the chaos of the world off of themselves and say, oh no, this is because the gods are punishing us. Oh no, this is because the gods are helping us.
Exactly.
It's going both ways.
Yeah, and then in this world, Coca is now she's not the girl she's not like the girl that he loves, but she's more like one of the priestess that conducts the ritual. So at the day of the rituals happening, they sacrifice her heart, and Futa's like, no man, I'm gonna save the girl that I love, Ray. And he ends up running up the altar trying to stop it, and then Coca cuts his head off and clean off, and but all the people seeing it's people that already ejected the ritual. They
Yeah.
start, they turned on the priest and everything, and in the end, everybody got all the priests and stuff got murdered and killed for this. And then when she talks to him, she said, this is the one life versus the many.
Yeah.
You didn't. This one life that the girl was going to do this sacrifice could have saved all these lives, but instead, you fueled the flames to make everyone see that this was wrong, and more people died regardless. And they did it again with the pretty much the antagonist of the whole timeline, Fortuna, who wanted to save his friend East, and he pretty much was from the incurable disease. So he was pretty much blowing up those spirit forges to get power for the spirit circle that he created.
I was gonna say don't jump there yet.
Oh,
okay. That's getting that's getting towards the ending. I definitely see what you're talking about though. How like that's like a theme throughout the story is what is it? So would you sacrifice one for all, or is one more important than everyone else? Like, is one more important than the crowd, or is one like? Because if I was in that first reincarnation, right, and that's the Mesopotamian, the like Aztec type of society where they're doing human sacrifice, and the main thing, the reason why is because like our main guy, he knows it's fake, because he can talk to spirits, and the spirits are telling him, he's like, hey bro, we don't want your blood. We don't need your blood. That doesn't do anything for us. This is a waste of a life.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he was talking to the spirit, saying it was pointless.
Yeah, and so like he knows that this is a waste. So like, if you know that the person that you love more than anyone in this world is being killed for no reason, you're not the one to get up and be like,
you're not gonna just sit there and just.
You're not just gonna sit there, and even though
her reasons were good too. It's like she wanted to protect a slaughter from happening.
Yeah, and like she knew too, the woman that he loved in this reincarnation, she knew that like this was important, this was needed, this had to happen, because without this, the people would feel like
any kind of like terrible weather, storm, or famine or something happens, it's because they didn't sacrifice somebody.
Yeah. And so she knew why this would happen. It's definitely what I noticed. There's funny moments throughout this manga, right? It's not. It's a lot. It's a serious manga.
Yeah.
Like I know we're coming from like our main characters are 14 or 15 or whatever in this world, but the subject matters and the things that he's trying to get across through the artwork and the text it's like serious content. There's a lot of funny moments, like sometimes when the main guy, when he comes back from going on this like spirit
reincarnation journey through his past lives,
like,
he ends up acting them out.
Yeah, like I loved when he came back from the Greek and he had like the old
he
man
was acting like an old man.
He was crutched and had to walk around everywhere, but it's definitely it leans more towards the serious. I think. What was your, when reading it, what's the least memorable reincarnation to you?
The one where he was a girl. It really was just like a chapter. I mean, it was key to the ending, but I kind of didn't like it. It was just like it just happened.
Yeah, I kind of feel I was talking about it when you first walked in. I kind of feel that happened because sometimes if a manga isn't doing well or is like it's not as popular as it should be, it's like, okay, we have to cancel it.
Get the rushed ending.
And so when it get canceled, you get like this rushed ending, and you don't get. It doesn't allow the author to fully flesh out ideas. I don't know if that's the case with this. This is just speculation, but that's kind of what that chapter felt like. I know you said that chapter. That is, I think that's number 2. The least memorable, and we get more characters for this one anyway, is the one where he's like a his name starts with an H. Haruto.
But yeah, the Japanese
sword
sharpener, yeah.
Blacksmith,
yeah, one of the 2.
That's kind of
you didn't like it?
It's kind of just forgettable to me. It's like it's not. nothing really important happened. Like the artwork during that scene, there's a really cool scene during it. The fight between him and his rival, they like they go at each other.
Yeah.
That's but other than that, it's not. I kind of could have. I don't know. I could have done without that one. But I think if you have listened to this far, this is definitely a manga worth checking out. We're gonna start talking about the ending now. So if you want to learn and experience that by yourself, I would say stop here. If you're cool with that, let's talk about the ending. So
Yeah, I kind of already talked about
yeah,
the
he
main
jumped
dude.
into it. So
Yeah,
for is Fortune or
Fortuna, or something.
Fortuna,
Like
he's his number seven spirit, and he's the reason that the main girl hates him, and he's the reason everything else is happening. He's a he's a dick. Or
yeah.
you know what? He's not a dick. He's just kind of he's insensitive to other people. Like he thinks he's a genius. He is a genius.
He's a genius. It's just
Like he is the smartest person in the room, but
he's a sociopath.
he also he doesn't see the significance in other people's lives. So
Yeah,
in this world, in this reincarnation, it's further in the future. This one is super far in the future. Like it's past the 34th century one where the non-living is happening. It comes after that one.
hmm
In like the timeline of events. And so in this future, they have grown. There's like a study of spirits now, and they can harness their powers and like, um, and make forges from them. It's just they're able to harness spiritual power now, and there's a whole science behind it. And he starts out as an apprentice to a master, and he does the unthinkable. He creates an artificial soul, and when he does that, he gets expelled, and his master gives him a warning saying that the path you're heading down will only lead to a madman's journey.
hmm
And he doesn't heed it because, like, whoever do. And so he goes down this like madman journey. Eventually, his master dies, and it's devastating to him because he's like, I couldn't do anything to save her. But instead, and he kind of gets over it, and lives on with his family. He lives with the artificial soul Rune, and then East is one of his best friend and his apprentice, and they find a baby, which is
the Coca, who becomes the main rival
yeah.
slash
This is like
fighter with him throughout the
her first
reincarnations.
reincarnation.
hmm
And so they're living all together as a happy family, the four of them eating fresh bread that East makes and shit. But then East falls sick with the same disease that killed his master. And he's like, well, fuck this time. I'm gonna
Go all out, try to cure it.
And so he does go all out and tries to clear it, but in his way of doing things, in this way he creates the Spirit Circle,
hmm
ability that we should not have. And with this ability, he goes and he have to power it up. Basically, is how I looked at it. And he goes to a town distant, and he harnessed the like. Would you say the spiritual forges?
Yeah,
Are like
the
big,
energy
like,
from the spirit forges that are on the planet or towns or whatever.
and so he goes there and harness that powers. Doing this causes giant explosions throughout the town, killing.
Thousands, like 20,000 people are dying.
And he's just like, well, I needed this.
Yeah,
Like, it works. And then he goes back to cure East. But his way of curing East is to take East's spirit out of his body and be like, there you go. Your body is done. You don't need it no more. Just be a spirit. Like, that's the most.
and he's not knowing what he's
And
doing.
it kind of feels, it's a weird sense of like it's innocent, but still wrong. It's like there's a level of common sense missing, which I guess it isn't common if you don't have it.
Because Coco was questioning, like, 20,000 people died for you to do this. He's like, yeah, but Issa's alive. We can continue, being together as family, the four of us, walking, talking, but but he's like, at what cost of those lives?
Mm-hmm.
Women, children are killed for one person. He said, and he's like, would you have, he
Would you
questioned,
rather East be dead
he's,
or like the the same thing we were talking about? The whole like is one life.
yeah, the one versus the many.
Yeah.
I remember. I know this is off uh, topic, but I remember in what's that one game? Infamous.
Yeah.
There's one mission. It was, of course, the good and evil. He's like your wife. I believe the main character name was Cole. I forgot his name, but yeah, it was one mission where you have to either save your wife or choose to save, these 1,000 people on this bus or whatever it was. And I remember on I think the good playthrough, you would choose the people over the one evil option to choose your wife. I believe so.
That doesn't seem
Because you're choosing, and the wife tells you like, "Yo, don't save me."
yeah, save.
No, the evil option is to save your wife. That is.
Maybe I'm just like it doesn't seem evil to me. You know why? It's because like I know you're supposed to care more about the many, but like if I have attachments and feelings to this one person, I want to save that person. Like if it was it's like if it's your mom or like your girlfriend hanging from somewhere, I kind of want to save her than like 10 randos. Fucked up.
It's very personal. It's like
But
really
it's like it's a
know.
personal thing. Like this person, I feel a bond and connection and love for. These people are randos, and I know you're supposed to have empathy. Is a kind of is what it is for everyone, but it that's something that
Fortuna, yeah, he didn't.
Fortuna
he
is like
didn't have.
he's lacking empathy after the main girl is questioning him. She's like, well, you're crazy, I'm gonna turn you into the police. But instead of staying there with him and making sure the police grabs him, they both run off.
Mm-hmm.
And so they both escape, and during this time Fortune is just getting a little crazier and crazier and crazier, and he starts raising armies of dead.
Yeah, he becomes a necromancer.
Yeah. And becomes the king of the dead. He kills like an entire city of like even more people.
He didn't even think he's killing them because he's raising them back up from the dead.
He's like, I'm not killing you. It was and so this keeps going. The main girl, she shows up and tries to fight him, and the funniest, like, this is the weird funny elements that happens is she shows up and he's like, hey, you're back, we can be a family again. And she's like, I am here to kill you, like, you are evil.
He's like, why would you kill me? I'm
like, what have I done? And he still doesn't get it, and so he runs away from there and he goes to another part, and like he raises more armies of the dead and more people try to stop him now. And now his overall goal is to become the universe, become one with the world, with the Spirit Circle, to basically absorb so much energy that it absorbs the planet. And so that's his main objective. And so he tries to do it, but the spirit of our planet, of Earth, stops him from doing it. So now he needs 2 Spirit Circles to try and do it. And so he's going to get the other one from the main girl. And so, but he's going to get it back in our main timeline.
The main timeline where he's a 14-year-old Japanese boy. They're each like 14 years old.
Yeah, and so he hijacks the other dude's body. Just to sidestep for a moment from before we go on with that, there's one reincarnation where we mentioned it earlier. It was the one you said is like your least favorite, where he comes back as a girl, and so everyone is gender swapped in
Pretty
this
much,
world.
yeah.
And they meet some aliens.
Yeah.
And the aliens give him a spirit capture. That's all that happens in this world.
Yeah,
that's it.
Really weird. That's why I didn't really like it, because I was like, what is
aliens
going on?
pop up. And you know what? I don't think they're aliens.
Who do you think? You think they're the...
They may be out of the world people, but if you go back and read it again, both of them say we put on these costumes that humans designed because it is what they think we look like. Because it's like a gray man, and the gray men are like black eyes, giant heads, little bodies. humanoid looking.
It must have been the site when I was reading because it was very hard to read. I was like, dude, what is going on? I was like, kind of just fast forward throwing it.
It was a random chapter. It felt so.
It was like only one chapter. As I said, it was just so short. It was just boom. That's it.
It just felt so weird. But so this chapter happens.
Plot device. That's all it was. A plot device chapter.
It really is because so we back to like okay, so now shit, I keep fucking up his name. Fortuna has kidnapped the main guy's body. He's now a 14-year-old, and the other dude is in the back of his conscious, lecturing him, trying to tell him that, hey, what you're doing is wrong. The reason you're doing all this is because you're lonely and you want to get back what you lost. This isn't the way to do it. And so the story just starts progressing from here. And so they get to the final showdown between the main girl and the main guy, and this is supposed to be their last fight. And so they're fighting with the spirit circles, trying to kill one another. It doesn't happen because his mother is pregnant, right?
Yeah, his mother's pregnant with. First, we just thought it was just a single baby.
Yeah,
but it ends up. Well, before that, the mom's going to the hospital whenever the dad's telling them this, and then Fortuna's like, I already seen the future. The baby's stillborn, and your mom's gonna die in labor.
It's just super dickish
yeah,
about it.
He
too.
just tells them that, so I'm gonna take over your body and fight this girl, kill her, win, get the spirit circle, become one with the universe, and that's that.
Yeah.
So, and he tells them pretty much everything's gonna happen in the fight. Your dad's gonna call you mid fight, and he's gonna give you the tragic news. So that's why you can't fight, because you're gonna be stunned and you're gonna get killed. But we're not gonna do that.
And so it gets to mid fight, and he gets stunned. But then his phone call rings, and it's his dad. He's like, "Hey, your mom's alive, and you have 2 twin sisters. The pregnancy was easy."
No, twins. One's a boy, one's a girl.
Yeah. 2 twin sisters. That would be 4 babies. So you have a pair. Your siblings are born.
Yeah.
And so he rushes to the hospital, and it's supposed to be. And so the siblings were born, and it's reincarnations of past lives that they thought were finished.
Which his master was the girl Ray, and then the brother, or is also one of his
his senior
apprentice,
yeah,
with Flame Bow, something like that.
It's FLAM.
Yeah, but pretty much his brother in the other universe.
And so they both come back because there's a thing that they mentioned earlier in this world where it's like a spirit. I'm sorry, hold on. All right, so sorry about that. So we were talking about
the twins being born, and he's having twin brothers. Pretty much the future that Fortuna said didn't happen.
Yeah, so that future doesn't happen. That doesn't come true, and so instead, the twins are born, and he kind of gets shook a little bit from this, but then they go back to the fight. And the fight is going, and Fortuna, he doesn't kill the girl. He instead just takes her left hand.
He pretty much wounds her left hand or whatever, and gets her spirit. Pretty much, he gets her spirit circle. So he has the 2 spirit circles in hand.
And so he's about to do this, but the consciousness inside of the main guy's body, everyone is fighting back now. All 6 of them are trying to fight back, and this is where the plot device, where we took the pause to talk about that world where he's a girl, the spirit net that the alien gives to him, he swings out and try to catch.
Yeah, it's like what you call it, spirit catcher.
Yeah, it's a spirit catcher. And so he catches Fortuna, and they pull him in, and that's how he gets his consciousness back. And then the story progresses from there, where and then everything else just kind of neatly ends up from there. Yeah. Everything starts to find its conclusion. How do you feel about that? How it ended? Because to me, it's like you're.
For all the build, it was kind of weird how they just took that one chapter plot device and it ended everything.
It's so easy, but you know what? When I truly think about this manga, I feel like the plot for it is incredibly weak. Right? The idea is super strong. And the fact that you get to see this guy's life in different reincarnations is a super cool thing to see. like all these different. It's like an episodic type of manga where you
Mhm.
get to see different episodes of like how you lived in this world, how you lived in this world. But like the overall plot is kind of weak. Like for me, I really enjoyed this manga,
A lot
but
of good points and topics. Just
it's just it ended so weak, and it makes me really think that the plot just wasn't. It's kind of suck when the idea is stronger than the plot. Like like one is better than the other. Like the idea and the concepts and topics, like you were saying,
you were great.
great, man. Like they're all up there. But then it just ended. And that's why I kind of feel like it got canceled or something like that, because it felt rushed towards the ending. I definitely give this like a super high B plus, close to A minus. The reason it's not just like outstanding to me is because of the ending, and because of like the plot devices, and like it just
Yeah, I think I'm around there too.
because it just ends kind of weak. Um, we I don't know. I definitely think you should check this out. It's a super quick read.
Yeah,
It's six
it's not long
volumes,
at all.
45 chapters. It's from an amazing artist.
If you think you said he did another work, Lucifer, and what is it called?
I think it's like Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer or something like that. I might be messing that up. But he's done that. He have created a bunch of really great works. He's a super creative dude. His is it Lucifer?
Yeah, Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer.
Yeah, and so he's super creative. Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer is a much longer manga. Man, we didn't even talk about the fact that he just popped up like four deities type of things.
Oh, near the end, yeah, like they're like the, uh, like somebody. I was reading the comment in the comment section. Somebody's like they're like the four elemental spirits or something like fire, earth, wind, and water.
What?
I was like, man, I
It's
don't
just
know. They just kind of came out of nowhere. That was out of left field too.
the ending was just so it. I don't want to say that he didn't wrap everything up. He does.
He tried his best whatever time he had left.
Yeah, he does. It just it left you wanting more, and it makes me is why I keep saying the plot felt weak, because it makes me keep jumping back to like, well, why is all of this happening? This is all happening because one girl wants to kill this guy because of what he did in this past life, and so we have to learn about this past life. But it's not, and what he does in that OG life is horrible. Like I'm not denying that. It's just it's lacking, but I love this one. Like I really fuck with this one. It's just I don't know. I'll say you check it out. Rate us. Leave some likes in the comments. Let us know what you think about it if you have read it yourself. If you haven't, let us know if you're going to check it out. Thank you for listening for this long. If you did stick with us, this is one of our longer ones. Any final words?
No, just yeah. So there's no anime, so it's pretty much just the manga adaptation or main anime, which is just the manga. So pretty much just where you want to go for it. It's up to you if whether you want to check it out or not. I give it it's a good read. Like I said, Sean says not long, 45 chapters, 6 volumes, doable.
Yeah, but this was 3, 2, 1. Let's talk. I'm one of your host, Sean,
It's your co-host Jamal.
and we'll see y'all next week.